France are officially the worst Tier 1 team in the world. Look at that. Rank it by losses, and it's so very clear that France suck. Now, you're going to say to me, oh, but it wasn't their full team, and I don't care. They chose to take down an understrength team to New Zealand. And yeah, they chose. They're the ones who let the top 14 billionaires take over and have a domestic competition that averages over 300 days a year. They're the ones who allowed the priorities, and not just this year, right, over time, to kind of devalue the international game. So this they deserve, and no ifs, ands or buts. Currently France, you suck. Now obviously I'm being deliberately a bit brutal there, but the truth is that this tour was bad for international rugby because there was no winning. So if France get close, which they did at times, and fair play to them, they've got good depth, then it's this whole storyline of, France B, and if the All Blacks run away from them and do really well, then there's this whole storyline of it's France B. And what it does is it destroys the joy of international matchups. And France have got previous for this. France have done this over time where they essentially don't pay kind of the respect to the international game. Now, to be clear, that's when they go on tour. Typically in the autumn, when people come to them and it's in their stadiums for their fans, well, they'll roll out the full team. So really, probably it's a lack of disrespect, or a disrespect to the Southern Hemisphere nations, that actually France just don't bother when they want to go down there. And I know there's all whys and whats. Now, to get to the actual rugby, I think you've got to play credit to France and go, look, their depth is really good. And actually there's I think there's this kind of point where you go, actually their first team, their second team, they're all pretty much of a muchness. So you lose something, right? But somebody like Dupont is injured anyway, so he would have never been there. And there's a few players who are special. But outside of those, I think they're at a place in depth where it's all comes through. And actually the All Blacks was quite interesting, seeing that they had quite a lot of players missing, particularly that third test, right? Like when you actually count up the players missing. So really interesting. But I do think we need to hold France's feet to the fire in terms of saying, that's the team you sent. That's your record. You are the worst tier 1 team at the moment. And they have to own it.